Guten Tag und herzlich willkommen auf meinem YouTube-Kanal German Made Easy from Scratch. Ich heiße Louise und mein Ziel für heute ist, die Relativpronomen durchzuführen. Und wenn ihr über die Relativpronomen lernen wollt, bleibt dabei. Ich erkläre das alles auf Englisch, damit ihr mich verstehen könnt. My aim for heute is to do the relative pronouns, and if you want to learn about the relative pronouns, stick around. There are one or two ways of teaching or of expressing the relative pronouns, I should say, but I'm going to teach you just one way because today, until you get that under your belt, because it can be a bit confusing if you get two ways of doing it. And two words for the same thing can be a bit confusing. So I'm going to teach you this way, and maybe another time I'll teach you another when you got it fairly well learned. Check out video 7 and 14 because you have, I go through the nominative and the accusative and dative and those, and check those out if you like. So take a look at the forms of how you do the nominative, the accusative, the dative, etc., and the genitive. Here is what's called the relative pronouns. And as you can see from my table here, and those of you who know your cases well already, there's not much difference between the word for the and the word for who or which or to whom. Now, what you'll see though in the dative plural, it's denen, not den. And then the other one that's quite different is the genitive dessen in the masculine, meaning whose, and deren, feminine, meaning who or to whom or whose. And then you have deren for the plural as well, meaning whose. But this belonging case here. Despite what you might think, it's unusual for English speakers because we tend to be rather lazy in this formality about we say who or which for everything, but we don't really go to whom. It's quite good or high English, for want of a better word, and not often spoken in everyday language. So it's then when you have to write it in another language, it becomes a bit confusing, or a bit of a task at least, anyway, if not confusing, because there are some people for whom nothing is confusing. There's a relative pronoun there. So what is a relative pronoun? As you know, pronouns are to stop you from repeating yourself, in other words. But put the word relative in front of it. In other words, it relates back to something which has gone before. For example, I have a sister who is called Maria. So there you have the who referring back to the sister. So in German, this is what it would look like. For das ist der Freund, der Fußball spielt. And you have das ist der Freund, that is the friend who plays football. Der Fußball spielt. So you're talking about in the nominative case. Now, again, as I just said, ich habe eine Schwester. Ich habe eine Schwester. Comma, now that's important. It's like a yield right away sign. Die Maria heißt. There you have it. So who is called? And it's stopping me from saying the word Schwester again. And that's why it's called a pronoun, because that's what pronouns do. But in this particular instance, I'm relating back to the word Schwester. With the accusative, das ist der Freund, den ich im Urlaub kennengelernt habe. What was all that about? You can say, ich habe den Freund im Urlaub kennengelernt. So I'm going to write that in. Ich habe den Freund im Urlaub kennengelernt. So it's den Freund and I. So I have my nominative already, and that's my accusative in a straightforward sentence. So now I don't want to be repeating the word Freund again. So das ist der Freund, den ich im Urlaub kennengelernt habe. And then the next one here. Das ist der Freund, dem ich schon viel von dir erzählt habe. That is the friend to whom I have already told a lot about you. So now I told again, ich habe dem Freund viel von dir erzählt. And that would be a straightforward sentence. Ich habe schon dem Freund viel von dir erzählt. Okay, so then instead of repeating him, the friend, so das ist der Freund, dem ich schon viel von dir erzählt habe. Okay, and remember, why is it dem? Because erzählen takes the dative case of the person. So, jemandem etwas erzählen. I'll write that down. It might be helpful to someone to know that. Jemandem etwas erzählen. Dann der Genitiv. Das ist der Freund, dessen Foto dir so gut gefallen hat. Again, it's das ist der Freund, dessen Foto. So we're talking about the photo. Das Foto des Freundes. That's basically what it is. Das Foto des Freundes. That's basically what that is. So the photo of the friend or the friend's photo. So that's the friend whose photo. So dessen Foto that you like so much, dir so gut gefallen hat. So that's why it's dessen. Then you have the example when you use a preposition. Der Pianist, von dem ich dir erzählt habe. So, ich habe dir von dem Pianisten erzählt. That might help someone out there. Ich habe dir von dem Pianisten erzählt. So it's the von dem bit. So I'm going to leave out Pianisten and then it's going to be der Pianist, von dem ich dir erzählt habe. Alles klar bis dahin? Na, hoffentlich. Ort, place. Das ist das Haus, in dem oder wo Mozart geboren ist. So, Mozart ist in dem Haus, that's more emphasis, geboren. Okay, so das ist das Haus, in dem, not repeating house again, Mozart geboren ist. Then you have Städte und Länder. In Deutschland, wo ich geboren bin, habe ich nur 2 Jahre gewohnt. And then the substantiviertes oder der Superlativ. Das ist das Beste. And you can use was there. Das ist das Beste, was du machen konntest. It was the best you could do. I've done a few of these, so again, as an Übung. So, and quite often it's the Übung which helps out. Vielen Dank für den Brief. Ich habe den Brief gestern bekommen. Now, as you can see, the verb will go to the end, as in all conjunctions, and it's den Brief that I want to not repeat. So I'll have vielen Dank für den Brief. A lot of you, if you're writing letters or whatever it is, or emails or something in your exams, be writing this anyway. Or für den Brief, den ich gestern bekommen habe. The verb going to the end. Now remember, in relative pronomen, they, and all conjunctions, let's say that with a few exceptions, the very few exceptions that we've already mentioned before, the verb goes to the end. See it there? There's my green. I put in green there to show you that that's where my verb has gone. The next one, watch out, okay, there are 2 things you have to remember. The relative pronomen itself and that the verb goes to the end. And in an exam, there usually marks going for, did you get the right relative pronomen and did you put the verb in the right place afterwards? And that's where the points go if you're wondering where the points go. Did you get the right or correct relative pronomen and did you have the verb in the correct position? So here we are. What's this one? Herzlichen Dank für das Geschenk, das heute angekommen ist. I'm referring to das Geschenk again, and ist das heute angekommen ist. It's the subject of the sentence, has to be nominative. And my das is there, my comma is there, and my verb is at the end. I just put that in green just to give that a little bit of a highlight. So my comma, my relative pronomen, and my verb at the end. I often say there's just 3 things that you remember in these relative is your comma, relative pronomen, and then your verb at the end. So if you think of that, okay, have I done the 3? Have I done the 3? You know, that type of thing. Now, vielen Dank für die Bücher, comma. Now, I don't want to repeat Bücher again, so I'm going to put die genau sind, comma, was ich wollte. That was a good one, because here you have genau sind, that's the end of your statement there, which are exactly what I wanted. That's, it goes as far as the comma. Die genau sind. You just made a longer sentence. Wie heißt der Junge? Der Junge spielt so gut Fußball. So then it's der spielt. We're going to again have a nominative. So that's easy enough. So, wie heißt der Junge, der, that's my relative, so gut Fußball, and then my verb at the end, which I'm going to put in green. Have I got my three things? I have my comma, yes. Have I got my relative? Yes. Have I got my verb at the end? Yes. Okay, on to the next. Der Kugelschreiber ist neu. Ich schreibe mit dem Kugelschreiber. There's your snake in the grass. I say there your preposition, mit taking the dative case. So now, I have to try to make a bit of sense of this. Der Kugelschreiber ist neu. The biro is new. I write with biro. I'm going to juggle this a bit and I'm going to say der Kugelschreiber, mit dem ich schreibe, comma, ist neu. I could write that. The biro with which I write is new. Very posh English, but not posh in German. And I think you get away with it, but der Kugelschreiber ist neu, mit dem ich schreibe. You will get away with that too. I was just juggling it a bit, make it sound a bit better. But the main thing is der Kugelschreiber, mit dem ich schreibe. I've got my relative and in the dative after mit. That was another thing. Watch out for things, little handy bits. Herzlichen Dank für die Geschichte. Du hast mir die Karte zum Geburtstag geschickt. Now, what have I got? Another herzlichen Dank. These are I love putting these herzlichen Danks somewhere. Herzlichen Dank für die Karte, right? Referring back to die Karte, die du mir zum Geburtstag geschickt hast. Now, there I have I got my comma? Yes. Have I got my relative pronomen? Yes. Have I got my verb at the end? Yes. We can go on. Ich schenke Otto die Zeitungen. Ich habe die Zeitungen für ihn gekauft. Ich schenke, I'm giving, Otto is the name of a boy, die Zeitungen, the newspapers. Now, my comma goes straight. Ich habe die Zeitungen für ihn gekauft. So I don't want to repeat. Ich schenke Otto die Zeitungen, die, I don't want to repeat the word Zeitung again, die ich für ihn gekauft habe. Have I got my relative? Yes. Have I got my verb at the end? Yes. Have I got my comma? Yes. We can go on. Herr Schulz ist krank. Wir kennen Herrn Schulz schon lange. So we don't want to be repeating Herrn Schulz again. And then wir is in the sentence. So that means it's the subject of the verb, which means that's nominative. And then we have a clue with the Herren that is accusative. What have we got? Herr Schulz ist krank, den wir schon lange bitte kennen. There you have it. So Herr Schulz is krank. Now we're replacing the Herrn Schulz, which is accusative. So then we need to have an accusative relative pronomen here. And then I've got my comma and I've got my verb at the end. Check. Wie heißt die Lehrerin? Du hast gerade mit der Lehrerin gesprochen. Now I have my highlighted there. So we'll go, wie heißt die Lehrerin? Comma, that's my first check. Mit der, I'm getting rid of the word Lehrerin because I don't want to have that twice. Mit der du gerade gesprochen hast. Verb at the end, yes. Comma, yes. My relative pronomen, yes. We're fit to go. Okay, die Kinder warten auf den Zug. Du hast mit den Kindern gesprochen. Oh, let's think this one out. Die Kinder warten auf den Zug. The children are waiting on the train. You spoke with the children. You could put that the children with whom you have spoken are waiting on the train. That's very posh English, but it's not posh in German. Or you could say the children are waiting on the train with whom you have spoken. Either way, it would be acceptable. It depends on what you want to say. I'm going to put, first of all, die Kinder, comma. Mit, now, is the with whom. I'm referring back to the children, die Kinder. It's plural. So now I need a dative plural Relative Pronomen. And now we know from our chart, which hopefully you have taken a snapshot of, die Kinder, then that's going to be mit denen. Mit denen du gesprochen hast, warten auf den Zug. Now, that means literally the children with whom you have spoken are waiting on the train. You could easily have said, if you wanted, just keep it simple, die Kinder warten auf den Zug, mit denen du gesprochen hast. Have I got my comma? Yes. Have I got my relative? Yes. Is my verb at the end? Yes. Check. Okay, next one. Nummer 11. Hier sind die Freunde. Du wolltest mit den Freunden zum Tanz gehen. So you don't want to be repeating mit den Freunden again. Hier sind die Freunde, Komma, mit denen. There's your dative plural again. Mit denen du zum Tanz gehen wolltest. Komma, check. Mit denen, check. Verb at the end, check. Ready to go. On to the next. Kennst du Peter? Peters Mutter ist schwer krank. Oh, this is a difficult one. Why? Because it's a belonging one, which means we have to use the genitive. Now, we're referring to Peter. So Peter is masculine. So the word for whose, for the relative pronomen, is dessen. So, kennst du Peter, dessen Mutter, whose Mutter schwer krank ist. Der Hund ist wieder da. The dog is back. Ich habe dem Hund gestern einen Knochen gegeben. I gave a bone to the dog yesterday. So there we have a dative. Remember, jemandem etwas geben. I'll write that for the people who are familiar with that way of learning your verbs. Jemandem etwas geben, to give something to someone. So then the someone is in the dative case. So in this case, it's the dog. So what are we going to do? Der Hund ist wieder da, dem ich gestern einen Knochen gegeben habe. Okay, that's easy enough. Der Hund ist wieder da, dem ich gestern einen Knochen, a Knochen is a bone, dem ich gestern einen Knochen gegeben habe. That's to whom I gave a bone yesterday. Now, it's very posh English, I know, but look, it's the way it is. And we're very lazy about posh English on our daily. Some people write it a lot, but not so much with this in our daily speech. Hier sind die Schüler. Wir gehen mit den Schülern ins Museum. We've got our preposition again. I love doing these. So I love doing these because it just makes you think. So, hier sind die Schüler. Get my comma ready. Hier sind die Schüler, comma. Now we've got a mit and a plural. So, mit denen wir ins Museum gehen. So now we've 14 of those sentences done and well discussed. Now have a good look back again at every one of those. Now you'll find that ready for you. And if you need to take a photograph of that, take it now. And remember, the verb after a relative pronoun will always be at the end of your statement or the end of your sentence. And that's important to know. Before we finish up, for the benefit of some people, I took this from an exam paper and it said, lesen Sie den folgenden Text durch und setzen Sie die fehlenden Relativpronomen ein. Tricky, tricky, tricky. In unserer Schulbibliothek, die über eine große Auswahl an Büchern verfügt. There you had, I put it in for you, die, in our school library, which has a great selection of books. So the die, referring back to the Schulbibliothek. Now, if you have English as a native language, it might be easier for you. Eines Tages Während ich dort war, one day, whilst I was there, fand ich ein sehr altes Buch. I found an old book. Darin waren viele Fotos abgebildet. There were few photographs. Again, referring back to the viele Fotos, die die Insel und ihre Bewohner zeigten. Die. Then, the next one was, ich entdeckte Leute. I discovered people. Now, all you had was Gesichter. Now, they had whose faces. And then it's plural. So, deren Gesichter streng aussahen. Es gab auch ein Foto von einem Kind, referring back to the child, so that you don't have to replace it, das nicht lächelte. Das Kind nicht lächelte. Bring it back to a sentence. For example, here in the first one, you could have, unsere Schulbibliothek hat eine große Auswahl an Büchern oder verfügte eine große Auswahl an Büchern. So we know that that is a nominative case. Eines Tages, während ich dort war, fand ich ein sehr altes Buch. Darin waren viele Fotos abgebildet. Die Fotos zeigten die Insel und ihre Bewohner, which is the main sentence, but we wanted to bring them together. So that's why we had to use die Insel und ihre Bewohner zeigten. To continue. My father, who was waiting at home for me, der zu Hause auf mich gewartet hatte, freute sich über mein Interesse an den Inseln. Ich wollte die Dinge erforschen, von denen niemand etwas wusste. Now, die Dinge are things, and then if you put von in front of that, that would be von denen niemand wusste. Now, my advice, as always, try and make it into 2 sentences before you make your decision. Which of those? Would I use die? Do I use deren? Do I use dessen? Divide them into the sentences into 2 as 2 simple sentences, and then you can make a decision as to which was the most suitable. Do I need an accusative? Do I need a nominative? Do I need a genitive? Do I need a dative? Are there any prepositions there? When you divide them up into 2 sentences, you actually see it very, very clearly, and it's less daunting, to be quite honest. Das wäre es für heute. That's it for today from German Made Easy from Scratch. Don't forget to like and subscribe and to leave something in the commentary. So that's it from me. Auf Wiedersehen und bis zum nächsten Mal beim German Made Easy from Scratch.